And good evening, everybody, to the Whole Agenda Radio Show. I'm your host, Robert Peppino, right here, broadcasting right here live on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. It's a pleasure to be here with you as always. Like I always say, I would not be here if it were not for you, because we are the #1 listener-supported network around, period. That's it. We are it. And I'm really proud to be a host on this network. And, it takes a lot of work, a lot of effort to make this network grow, folks. And you hear me say it every Friday night, first hour, second hour, and I'll continue to repeat this. I know you probably get really sick and tired of me saying this, but I've got to say it because it's important. And we need your contribution, and we need your help to make this network grow. Now, the network is expanding. We're going to be going on 365 Live, which is going to be absolutely fantastic. But we need help and support in doing that for the network to continue and grow. So if you can, please go to the donate section on the homepage on freedomslips.com. Click on that link and just go to the donate section. Whatever you can offer, $5, $10, $15, $20 would be most appreciated for the network. You've heard me say it over and over, that none of us here get paid. I, for one, certainly do not, and I know the rest of the hosts do not. We are doing this because we want to do it, because it's the alternative truth, and I believe it's the absolute truth to the heresy that the mainstream media tries to present people on a daily basis. But with that being said, I want to thank you again for joining my broadcast as always. Now, tonight, as always, on the third Friday of every month, we have my very good friend, Alma Roehling. She is our telepathic transcommunicator of Stargate 2012 Beyond. Now, I know that we get new listeners all the time, so I'll just go ahead and put this out for you, to you from her, is that Alma Roehling has communication with our cosmic brothers and sisters through her rare ability that she received as a child to enlighten people of the planet, really, to what is to come in the days ahead. And, folks, you can see everything that's happening financially and physically on the planet. And it's not getting better, it's getting worse. But our cosmic brothers and sisters are here to basically channel through Alma to tell us in detail what to expect. And it's not going to be as tragic as everybody thinks it is. Yeah, there's going to be some devastation. There's no question about it, but it will be survivable. And they want us not to live in fear, but to live in the light, to live in knowledge, so we can all prosper through these times. And really, that's what it's all about. And I tell you, I appreciate the information as much as all of you. Now, I just want to bring this up really quick, because we're going to be talking about this tonight. Alma and William had their Legions of Light UFO Skywatch just recently in San Diego, and this is what we're going to be discussing in the first hour before she channels our cosmic brothers and sisters. And wow, do they have a story to tell you. I got it all firsthand today, and I can't wait for you guys to hear this. Alma and William, welcome to the program, my dear friends.
Hi, good evening, Robert. How are you?
I am well, and I am so excited about the information you shared with me earlier today about the Legions of Light Skywatch. Wow, was that cool?
That it has been very unexpectedly rewarding in a way that the universe has a way of enlightening, certain individuals. And at every Skywatch, it's always a little bit different. We never know what to expect. We never know the groups, if they're going to be balanced, or there's going to be some that are strictly just go there to interfere, or others go there to debunk and disrupt what we're doing.
A bunch of naysayers going out there to check it out to see, going, oh, this isn't true. This is a bunch of hooey.
Yeah, and it's beautiful when it is balanced and everyone from the same frame of mind. So what I do is I balance them with, I have some energy, and I go through each individual that's there, and I use a pendulum. And I can see with the pendulum if the person is balanced mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And when there's a disbalance, I know. And I make sure if there's too much disbalance in the group, well, then I know more or less how the evening's going to go. And if it's total balance, there's harmony, because everyone that goes is an open-minded individual and is understanding and welcomes that cosmic brotherhood. So there is quite a difference in the energy level in each one of the sky watches. So that's why I said we never know what to expect. When we do them private, only with selected few members that we invite, it's beautiful, because we have so many science we can't even count. And with the night vision equipment, we're able to capture the best that we can get. The other ones, they're still there, but not enough to put on YouTube. So William saves the best, and he's got quite a few. He's got a few for the sky watches here in San Diego that he's still working on, and the ones we have just taken from the Joshua Tree contact in the desert, which was, August, the what?
9th through the 11th.
9th through the 11th. So that's basically what we would like to say to the audience.
Well, and just let me interrupt really quick. I mean, sometimes I know for a fact that at your sky watches, most of the time you don't even need the night vision goggles, because I know that how the crafts are drawn to you and William. I've seen it I've seen it firsthand. So.
Yes. Well, I didn't have any type of equipment like night vision goggles for over 20 years. On my groups, when they used to take them outside of the city, we would have sky watches. We would do spiritual, meditation, visualization, calling out to them in a vibrational state. So we would have them with our eyes. So we would have ways to communicate with them. And then I would go into full trance state. So when I would be in full trance state, not only did we see them with our eyes, the ones that were lower and the lights would come down lower, then I would be able to communicate under full trance state. And I would have an assistant with me that was a nurse to check my blood pressure. And then another one that's a nun that would play and balance all the energies, there in our group meetings. So that's what we did for years. And they're still with me. The nun is with me, and my assistant Doris is a nurse, is with me, and now my
terrific lady, by the way, terrific lady.
Yes. Yes, right now she couldn't come because she knows that William is taking good care of me. But she's always welcome to be here. Most of the time she's here.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm letting everybody know you can have sky watches without any type of equipment. It depends on your frame of mind. It depends on the spiritual connectiveness you have with them, your interest. They know because they see your light, because we all radiate light. So what they see from whatever distance they are in, it's a vibrational frequency of love and of light that emanates from the group. So that's why they say prayers are so important, because the prayers have such power that the angelic realms and our spiritual guides and the council, they will all hear our prayers if they're done with true intentions and of the heart. It just can't be a vocal prayer and a selfish prayer. It has to be from the heart, from the soul, and not just the lips moving.
Right.
It's a vibration that's internal that comes through your vocal cords that actually is in tune with the prayer, and you're connecting with the universe or the angelic realms or a loved one, whoever you want to make those contacts with.
Right. So let's talk about the Skywatch out at Joshua Tree, because I'm excited about this. I mean, what you told me, I mean, that was really spectacular, fantastic, actually. And I know for a few particular individuals out there, hopefully they're listening tonight. I got the story firsthand. It was a really inspirational and true awakening for yourselves.
Yes, it was. The reason why we saved our money to go to this conference in Joshua Tree was because my husband bought some property like over 10 years ago, and he had never, Joshua Tree, he has never seen it, stood on it or nothing. So we thought this was a great opportunity to go to the conference and take one day to go to his property and look at it and see, so we can use it at a later time and maybe take a motor home and do sky watches, or in any emergency throughout the world. It's
Right.
needed, and you need to move out, especially those that live in the coastlines, especially anyone who is aware of these changes that may come, have an access way to just move out of the coastline. So the high desert for us would be a better place to go. While we're here in San Diego, our best place to go is eastward.
Which makes
So
sense. And how far away is Joshua Tree from where you guys are at?
2.5 hours
Okay.
within decent driving, no traffic.
Not
So
bad.
it's not that far from us.
Yeah.
So that's the one reason why we went. And the second reason was excellent speakers. I mean, the most known and the most loved and wise of the researchers, investigators, experiencers, like, you know, David Wilcox for us was very enlightening because his information is in tune with the information that I have been receiving as a child growing up to this time, and you have a lot of that info on all our podcasts. So what David Wilcox has been saying on this lecture here, most of the information you have.
Well, we were talking.
2012.
You brought this information up, and we're going back now over
Yes.
well over 3 years. But I know that in our personal conversations that you were talking about this in what, 1988, 1987,
87, 88, 89. Yeah.
Exactly.
I was bringing a lot of information from the universe before it had even reached the public through the radio or through the TV or through the Internet. They were already telling me in the 80s, 87, 88, about light ships that would be going into the volcano, especially Popo in Mexico City. And they call them living ships. They're unmanned. They're guided craft. They're like liquefied, but they have a form. They go inside the volcano, and what they do is they neutralize the energy, and they disperse it down underneath the volcano.
Yeah, didn't you say that basically these living crafts are able to basically achieve the same frequency as the volcanic material that is being expelled? So because they can reach that same frequency, it cancels out any kind of damage that it could do to the craft, so they can go into the volcanoes and into the magma, deep into the underlying layers to try and basically help the Earth's inner core come to some kind of normality, because we realize that the core now at this point is spinning faster than it would normally do, and this is part of the problems that we're having on the exterior, you know, the crust of the planet.
There's a lot of reasons why they're going through the volcanoes, because that's one of the entry points.
Right.
Now, some of the volcanoes may not be active, and they use it also as entry points to go down to certain levels, like you said, to balance the core of the inner Earth. But the ones that are active, volcanoes that are active, like Popo and in other parts of the world, they're starting to show some pressure and activity. They go inward, and they just change their what do you call it? the frequency, whether it's a material frequency of their craft, or whether it's a thought form craft, or whether it's a morphine craft, they change so they can go inside the ship with the same type of energy frequency.
So they're releasing pressure, so it might distribute a little more evenly amongst the tectonic plates, so we don't have any kind of massive quake, correct?
That is correct. They're dispersing, breaking down the energy, basically balancing it, and that causes a little bit, some of the pressure to build up in some other areas where it may cause some minor earth movements.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine? I was going to say,
yes.
Can you imagine if they weren't here helping us, what would have already gone through?
To be honest with you, I don't think we would be here on this planet if our cosmic brothers, the benevolent kind, have not been able to assist us. They are given permission not to interfere, but they may assist us in a way to balance energies. But whatever else happens on the planet, they're just assisting. They can't take away our free will and the karma of the planet, the human race. But they can intervene in a very, very serious event that would wipe out the human race or the planet, because it would affect our sister planets in the solar system. So basically what they have done, and I brought this information through my guides in the late 1980s, 88, 89, before it was on. That's through the volcanoes. Jaime Maussan and many others have captured now these crafts going in the volcanoes, and now there's proof of them, worldwide proof. And then at that time as well, they were talking about the earthquake movements getting greater and greater, and then ocean earthquakes, ocean movements, and they were talking about water coming out and hitting the shorelines and inundating. That has already been occurring. And they said in the 80s and 90s that it would continue to get a little bit worse, but with their assistance, that would be balancing the energies. And it would give the human race more time. As they see these events unfolding, it awakens humanity. And it gives them an acknowledgement that something is occurring on the planet. They cannot ignore it any longer.
Well,
so by seeing the facts, humanity will get together, and will work together in a frequency of love and light and welcome, benevolent brotherhood, to really basically clean up and assist us with all that is necessary to prevent anything more dangerous to occur on the planet.
Well,
there's so much info here. We don't cover it all.
I know there is. And because we only have the first hour with you, and then, they all want to start coming through you to, start explaining a lot of things to us. So Alma, let's talk about the Joshua Tree Skywatch. So what happened? Because what you told me was absolutely amazing.
We went to see all the great speakers, like I said, David Wilcox, James Gilligan, and we saw Stephen Greer and Laura Eisenhower. There was just so many. Michael Tillinger was there. There was just so many that we could not see all three. They scheduled 3 speakers at the same time, so you had to choose between one from the other. That's the only unpleasant thing that we heard a lot of complaints about, because they didn't give us the opportunity to go to all 3 of them. So we had to choose, one or the other. So it was beautiful. It was fine, but there was great speakers that we wish we had more time to have had the opportunity to listen to all of them. But lunchtime, we paid for the lunch, so we would have lunch and dinner. And there's an event, and a lady, and his name is David. He didn't give us his last name, and Donna West. And for some reason, they just came into our lives. And there was a reason for everything. And we had the opportunity to discuss many things. And David was very, very intelligent because very intuitive. He knew everything basically about William and I, what we were going to talk about, before we even said a word.
Hold on. Okay, hold on. How was that possible?
It's like if he knew everything. He's either a very telepathic, intuitive psychic that just got into our minds, because everything that I thought and that I believed in and the messages that I've been receiving also from the universe, he almost knew what I was going to say before I even opened my mouth to say it, and he would finish the questions. The same with my husband, and we knew something here was out of the ordinary,
Well, and you know what I was going to say to you, that I thought, earlier I said
he could be a cosmic being here on Earth, as many are here on Earth, and he was very, very knowledgeable. And he was a gentleman, kind and respectful. So he, to make things short, which I will not publicize this, it came to be a very fruitful and benevolent encounter with him.
Right. I know what you're saying when you say that. Okay. So we can leave that at that. Yeah.
Yes. And the lady was a beautiful lady who also became part of our family. And it's something that was called upon to be. And the universe sends people into your life that are meant to come forward, either to bring you and assist you in your path and mission that you have, or they come either to analyze or to stop you in what you're doing or discourage you, or they come to be part of you, to become part of your family, and to give you encouragement, assistance, and open the doors to bring, your experiences, your truth into the light and reach more of the masses on the planet. So you have many ways of looking at this, okay?
Right.
So the most important was the Sky Watch that Mr. Stephen Greer arranged, and he had really a great amount that registered for his Sky Watch, and he gave in his lecture what he basically did, and he is very successful in doing. He said in his techniques he uses the form of meditation, which is chant, and it's a different language, and he uses sound and some other types of ways of calling our brothers in. So he gave a basic runabout way to call on them. So he had a good turnout. 300 people or so that signed up, and they paid a good amount, let me say, a good amount of this.
Right.
And we met several beautiful people that we said we had night vision goggles. We were going to do our own Sky Watch ourselves in a place that we found that was special for us. And since we got these people already, coming to us, they invited themselves into the Sky Watch with us, and we chose a certain amount of people. It was between 10 and 12 people for 2 nights. So when Mr. Greer did his night vision Sky Watch, because I believe he had that equipment for himself or his company went with him, and we had our own separately with our night vision equipment as well. Many of the ones that had bought the tickets to go to his, they went there for half an hour and they returned, and they came to stay with us. So instead of being there for 3 hours, they came to be with us. And they said that we truly have the real thing, and they have the the experience, everyone there, for the first time, they saw these crafts.
So,
And
this was everybody in your group?
And everybody in our group.
Okay.
Everybody in our group. And the ones that were in the other group, they came to us because they weren't seeing nothing over there. And they said that it wasn't the same. And they weren't going to spend 3 hours over there when they knew we were catching the sightings. So
Less than a quarter mile away.
Well, I mean, that's
a quarter of a mile away between his and between ours.
That's not news.
Less than a quarter mile.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, that's not news to me. I mean,
and it was nonstop for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they all had the experience. They all saw it on the screen. They all took time to see, with the night vision. And for many of them, the very first time, it changed their lives, because many could have been skeptics. They changed their lives. Others, we started talking about some spiritual topics and what we knew. And this was really an eye-opening for them as well. And I took pictures with my Samsung, cell phone, and I happened to catch huge orbs. I mean, sometimes they're taller than buildings, and sometimes larger than your whole body, and I capture them which is around you. They can be your guardian angels, spiritual guides. They can be from the fairy realms. They can be the earth spirits. There's just so many levels to these types of orbs.
Right.
These are different than the ones that are being captured in other pictures with all the colors, and they're small, and larger, and brighter, and different textures.
Yep.
These are pure light. These are pure light.
Right.
And when I started taking pictures and showing it to them, this is what really impressed everyone there. And they all wanted their pictures with the energy and these huge orbs around them. And I was able to take a picture of every single person that was there and send it to them, and they took that as something that meant a lot to them, to know that we have protection. That's the main point I wanted to make. We all have an energetic protection around us. Besides our aura, we have these radiant balls of light, of energy frequencies. And they can be from any realm, from the spirit to the fairy realm, to your spiritual guides, to your cosmic guides. It's just countless interdimensional beings, multidimensional beings in these light, huge orbs.
Well, let me throw this out there real quick, because I forgot to do it at the top of the hour. So let me do it now, because we're at the bottom of the hour. It's 9:31 right now. For any of you who want to call in and ask Alma any questions, or even for any of you who are actually out there listening in tonight at the Joshua Tree Convention, and we're out there at the Skywatch, please call in and ask a question to Alma, or if you weren't and you just have a particular question for her, the number's 347-688-2902. Again, that's 347-688-2902, or just get in contact with me on Skype. You can even do it through Freedom Screen, and I should be able to pull you in. My Skype name is Robert Peppino. That's Pepino1. Add me as a contact, and I will add you, and then you can join the conversation if you have something to ask Alma. Apologize for interrupting you, Alma, so please continue.
No problem. No problem. And for us to meet beautiful people that you can, with something so, for us it's natural to see them all the time. But for others who want to see them and finally see some crafts, and we were honest with them, some of these can be man-made, from different, governments, can be from this, or can be from others. Technology has advanced so far that there's so much up there in the heavens. You have to know what you're looking at, and that's where the night vision goggles help. Because with the energy and the light spectrum that they give, we're able to see and distinguish them from being planes or helicopters or being man-made crafts or our true benevolent cosmic brotherhood. But there's a difference. We can capture them on the night vision, and the ones that don't interact with us telepathically, or what they call them powering up and lighting up like suns, the ones that don't do that with us necessarily doesn't mean we don't have a telepathic connection with them, but we don't have a direct origin of contact with them. That is the difference. William has...
But what makes that difference, Alma? I mean, because you are connected directly, and I, through you, through our spiritual brothers, our advanced brothers and sisters, we have a connection through all of us. Why wouldn't those others make that connection to you because you are such an open channel?
Okay. The difference is with him, with William, being a telepath and having interactions with these crafts, the ones that light up and he's able to interact lovingly with them and they respond back to him with powering up. Those are the ones that are strictly connected with him. And they explain this to him. It's like on Earth, he said, you give your loved ones walkie-talkies, but only your loved ones, so you can connect with them wherever you are at certain distances, these walkie-talkies. Okay? So you don't give walkie-talkies to anybody. You give them to your loved ones. Okay? So we give you these, but they're transmitters. So there's many on the planet that have these transmitters that assist us in the telepathic contact and interaction with them. And when they are here in the sector of our skies, and these crafts will then resonate with us because we have the transmitters. But to a certain origin, certain crafts, certain commanders or light ships out there. Okay, this is a telepathic communication through our transmitters within us that contact them. They gave it to us as we were children. Now, the other ones that we see in the heavens, and they brighten up for us, but they do not interact with us, like powering up and giving us signals when we speak to them. They are still benevolent crafts. They are giving us their signals telepathically, but it's out of respect and benevolence that they see our light. But true contact and telepathic interaction is when you truly connect with them telepathically and interact with them. Now, the other ones that pass through our skies, and we have the night vision equipment, and don't do nothing but just zoom by or whatever, those can be man-made crafts. Those can be crafts from other cosmic brothers and sisters that have no connection with us or even the intent to communicate with us or give us any type of signals or flashes. Do you understand?
I completely understand, and I know that there are literally, at this point, dozens and dozens of races that have been coming here visiting us for all different reasons and all different purposes. So there's that like frequency connection that you were talking about. That because we're directly involved, or now on a different plane, but still directly involved with certain beings, they are here. Specifically for the events that are taking place, but also to pass this information on through our frequencies, which we are directly connected to them. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So not everything that we're seeing in the heavens just because we have night vision goggles and because people think that each one of them is going to give us powering up. That's not so.
Right.
It's only the ones truly into connecting with, interacting with, because we would have the walkie-talkies, or call them the transmitters. Okay, that's how they used it in a simple way. We give it to close ones, to loved ones, and they're all over the planet who have these walkie-talkie transmitters.
It makes sense. It makes sense.
It makes sense the way they state it so we can understand it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well, go ahead.
So basically what I'm telling people is when you go out to do your own personal sky watches, if you don't have this equipment, it's your intent and it's your love. And you can just call out to them from your heart. You can do it verbally. You can do it mentally. They read your intent and your light. And if you truly have one of those walkie-talkie transmitters, and you are one with them as well, you will receive also these interactions telepathically, signals to you. The other ones are not from the ones that you are connecting with, or part of your origin or part of those crews.
This is something that you and I have talked about a lot. You know, there's been a corruption within the benevolent and the I can't speak. Malevolent and the benevolent ones, that they have basically tried to hijack the benevolent words, so to speak. And there's a lot of confusion going on, so probably people are being manipulated and confused at all different levels. How would people distinguish from the good and bad at this point?
You know, biblically speaking, most of your holy scriptures mention of these days that we are living in. And many say, beware of false prophets.
Right.
Whether they come from the heavens or whether they're here on earth, okay? And they also say that in these days, many would come and personify others. So that means that in these days we're living in, what we now know as truth that has been given unto us, and it's on the internet now for everybody to acknowledge. You know, I started having contact when I was a child, and since 1987, with the true Galactic Federation of Light. And come through the years, I received contact from various of the crew members. Then, all of a sudden, there came about another Galactic Federation of Light. My respects to all of these, because everybody out there listening, it's what you are in tune with. Now, all I'm going to say is that right now, it seems like there's 3 out there. Okay? Now, one on the YouTube is making an expression verbally that they're saying that they are with the Luciferian forces and their prime creator is Lucifer. And they're coming here to end the oppression that Jesus Christ has caused. Well, they call him Jesus Christ the oppressor. So that's one version of it, okay? And they're also adding names of government leaders who are supposed to be with them. Okay, now the second one that just came out, that's a new one, Galactic Federation of Light, they're saying that they are with Jesus the Christ, their commander, and that they have certain connections with the ones here on earth, certain government leaders, but they also have it with others, which I can't mention out of respect for all of these Galactic Federations of Light, because one light and another light, one is lesser, one is greater, but each one thinks they're greater than the other.
They're still light, exactly. They're still light.
You see what I'm saying?
Oh,
so
yes.
For each one of them, they believe that they are right and they have the truth.
And this is what I've been saying all along. I've been telling people, Alma. I said, look, I always say, there is no good or bad. There just is. It just depends on what your mission is in this life, or as an advanced being in that life that you are to achieve and learn. That's it.
Now, this is important for us, for me. My connection has been, since I was a child, growing up, and my cosmic experiences have been with the connection of Jesus the Christ, who walked this earth, who ascended, is the greater being, and is our cosmic savior and brother.
Right.
This is the way I have learned this, and I have been given this information as a child. So, the other ones that say that he is the oppressor, and they are with the Luciferian forces. That's totally against
Of course it is.
my energy.
It's a bunch of nonsense. It's a bunch
Okay?
of nonsense.
So the other one that already is coming through is saying that they are with Jesus, but they're also mentioning other things. They are not in the same vibrational frequency that I've been raised with in my contacts. So I'm saying to people, some will believe one because that is what their frame of belief and spiritual progression is, because this is what they feel good about. Another one is going to believe the other side. But all I say to your public is this. We, as some of us within the Christian faith, we carry and believe in the symbol of the cross. Now, the symbol of the cross can be used also by the opposing forces. They just flip it around, reverse it, okay? By reversing that symbol of the cross, it then becomes the Luciferian forces. Now, Luz means light. They are also light beings, but of a different vibrational frequency of light, okay? Because they reversed it. They reversed that light. But that light to them is the truth, okay? Our light to us is our truth, okay? Having the symbol of the cross. Now, the number 13 is another example. It's supposed to be very unlucky. It's supposed to cause many terrible things. It's always gone through generations, giving it a bad rap. The 13th is the highest spiritual, unconditional love vibration. It's a frequency. It's a higher frequency that Jesus, who walked this earth, had, and will always have. Okay, now, that 13th is also used by the other light that have turned against from the greater light. And they use the 13th for their meetings, for their work, whatever. So what I'm trying to say is the number 13 and that highest frequency of love and light can also be used for the highest frequency of energy against the light. You see?
It's interesting because if you add 1 and 3, it's 4, which 4 divided, 4 divided by 2 is 2, which equals the basic opposites basically pushing against each other.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. It's two energies. These two energies have always existed on the planet from the beginning of time.
And throughout the universe. And throughout the universe.
And this is also free will, because free will exists, allowing humanity or other sentient beings throughout the solar system, the universe, to choose which type of life experience they want and which way they want to unfold in their spiritual growth.
Right.
So yes, these energies have always existed. So this is the confusion for everyone now. So my guys have said to disassociate ourselves from this name completely, because it's already been manipulated. Okay? Manipulated because many minds are being now confused.
Well, you know what the problem is? You know what happens is one of the problems is for the confused masses that if they go by the biblical, scriptures that have been written, they're thinking about fire and hell and brimstone.
Right.
When in reality, it's the complete and total opposite of that.
The opposite, because we create.
Right.
We manifest what we want for our lives, for the future, for this planet. And nothing, prophecy is not written in stone. Prophecy was given as warning.
Right.
And it was given by enlightened beings. Unfortunately, a lot of the truth that was placed and given has been taken out, but yet later found, within the Dead Sea Scrolls and some other manuscripts. See, sometimes humanity and those that are in charge feel that they're doing the right thing in taking or putting things in a place or in a way within Holy Scriptures that will benefit to them, the human race, but the human race does not understand, so they feel that they can interpret it in a certain way so that the human race can understand. But that would still be manipulation. That would still be manipulation, because I can tell you a story, and you can listen to me. And then you can tell the same story that I just told you to somebody else. And believe me, you are going to change it. You're going to add to it, and you're going to take away from it, okay? And that story that goes on to the third person is going to receive it for you, already manipulated from you. And they're going to put it and pass it on and manipulate it even more.
I know.
Okay?
Unless you can, if you can put yourself out of that story and explain it exactly as it has been told to you, without interjecting your point of view as to present it, how it should be presented. You know, and there's people out there. I mean, I for one have done that. I never manipulate or distort what I've been told. I kind of just put it out there exactly the way it's been told to me, and then people can make their own judgment or decision based on that.
But see, there's a difference here too. There are righteous souls that will not do that, that will receive something from someone that's precious and true and pass it exactly as it is. Whether you tape it, you write it down word by word exactly, okay?
Right.
But there's others that have good intentions. They listen to it, and they have good intentions, and they pass it on to somebody else. But they're not being malicious. It's just that it's human nature.
They're not being aware of what they're doing, basically.
Yeah, they have good intentions of passing it. Just like jokes. You may tell me a joke.
Right.
Exactly. And I tell somebody else, and I'll miss something, one little tiny thing, and I won't be able to say it exactly as you. Because I missed a word there, so I'll put in my word.
Right.
And you know, it's not going to be as funny.
Exactly. And that makes absolute sense. And most people, in my opinion, average people, I'm not talking about the people who are really aware listening to programs like this, but I'm talking about average people who are not part of the greater awareness, will do that on a constant basis, and not even be aware that they're doing it.
So that's why the universe says, blame no one, judge no one. The truth is greater than we all expect and perceive, and that's in all natures of things.
I agree.
The light will come out sooner or later, no matter what anyone does to prevent the truth from coming out. It will come out sooner or later, you know, without judgment, without placing the finger on anyone. That's just the way it is. It's a flow. It's to bring about balance.
Right. Now, I know because you're going to get ready to go into trance, and after we do trance, I know you need time to recuperate, so on and so forth after that. So we probably won't get a chance to speak until tomorrow. But what is coming up next for the UFO, our San Diego UFO Society and the Legions of Light UFO Skywatch?
We're going to have a very, very special speaker this Sunday.
Oh, Mr. I know who it is.
Escamilla. He's a dear friend of ours. He's been on your program.
Say his name again. I love him.
Escamilla.
Yes.
He's the discoverer of the phenomena rods, which has been quite controversial, but believe me, it's factual. And he's probably going through the same ups and downs as I have been, disillusioned with the human race, and disillusioned with many, you know.
Join the club, my dear.
The more you try to give out to the public the truth and half proof, it's the more you get set aside, the more you get rejected.
Yes.
You know, and the less they take your integrity away. Believe me, I understand how he feels because I have gone through it. My husband has gone through it. And you've gone through it with your personal UFO sighting that you had.
Yes, my dear.
You know, so the more we bring out real truth, now people will accept many untruths. you know,
Yes.
because
Yes.
they find it convenient. They find it that it fits into their perspective because they don't want to come out of the box of what they perceive to only be the truth. They're not open to other realities. They're not open to higher truths. You see?
Let me
to shut it out.
I know. I know because William, I've been hearing you chattering in the background the whole time.
Yeah.
I know you want to get in there.
Yes.
And put it.
Yes.
Put it
Let him
forward.
take over a couple of minutes while I rest.
Absolutely.
Yes. We're just okay. You just basically give him a little briefing on what you just said to me, so he can take it from there.
Well, just basically, I wanted to say, William, that you know what you guys are doing is fantastic, by the way. And I brought up to Alma what is coming up next for the San Diego Legions of Light UFO Skywatch, and I know that she just mentioned that Jose Escamilla is going to be coming down for this one last time. And I know he put out basically a Facebook announcement that he's no longer going to be giving any interviews for quite a long time, which is kind of disappointing. But then again, you know what? I can understand his point of view, where he's coming from. He needs to basically go within himself and create what he's creating and bring that to fruition for himself through his movies, documentary movies. And I wish him all the very best because I think he's a fantastic guy.
So do I. His movies have changed the human race as far as I'm concerned, the perception of space and the universe and everything paranormal. He is one of my heroes.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Whole Agenda Radio Show. I'm your host, Robert Peppino, right here on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. It is the top of the second hour, and we've had a wonderful conversation with Alma and William in the last few minutes in regards to their Joshua Tree Skywatch, which was quite amazing. We didn't get all the information out because, as always, I've got a big mouth and I like to ask a lot of questions. But she's going into trance right now to communicate with our brothers and sisters, and I believe she's probably almost ready. But really quick, I want to throw this out there. If you can, donate to the station. You make the station possible. We are 100% listener supported. You make that happen. Go to the link on support. Whatever, $5, $10, $15, add to whatever you can. It's a big contribution, big help, because this network is expanding to get this information out there to more and more people. To the unawakened masses, we're trying to wake up more, and this is a great forum to do it in. So, with that being said, let's see if Alma's ready. She's in trance. Hopefully she is, and we're going to get some incredible inspiration this evening. Hello, and are we ready? Alma or Ikan or Andorra?
Hello, Robert.
I'm right here, William.
It's going to be another minute or so. She hasn't been able to go in.
I got you. That's totally fine. So let her go in. Sometimes it takes a little longer, I know, and sometimes it takes a little less, depending how urgent the messages are, my friend. I absolutely understand that. So let me go back really quick and just do a quick recap as she is going under. So for all of you just joining us right now, we had a wonderful conversation. Basically, the conversation was about her and William going out to Joshua Tree because William actually bought property out there about 10 years ago or so, but they wanted to go check it out, and it just so happened that they were doing a conference out there at that time. So William and Alma decided to go out there. The conference was there. They decided to put on a Skywatch as well, what was amazing, by the way, is that they only had a very small group. That's Alma and William, of about 10 or 12 people who joined their Skywatch. For listeners who've been following Alma for a long time, hopefully on our network here and the prior network I was on. So they had amazing, confirmation of, the light ships coming up above. And for the most part, I have to tell you this, because when I've been with Alma and William, and this is directly going back to when I had a private session with Alma, I do remember that night having, the ships coming over, and a very particular feeling came over me, and that was because the reason that happened was because of the very first incident I had on the radio, by the way, gang, of this feeling, and I've explained it to you before, that when you get that feeling, it's of love, okay? You get that like the butterflies in your stomach sensation. It was almost the same thing. No, it wasn't almost the same thing. It was actually stronger than that thing that night. And then the ships were flying around that evening, which was absolutely amazing. And gosh, I wish, I want to so much to know all the things I've experienced to this point. I wish I could tell you guys, but they told me, they said, be patient, pay attention to your dreams, which I do. I remember all my dreams every night. I don't know about you guys, but I remember all my dreams every night. Very rarely do I never not remember my dreams. Now, I don't know how rare that is for people or not, but for me, that's the norm. I remember my dreams every night. I can give you details on some of my dreams, which a lot of people say, well, you don't dream in color. Well, I beg to differ, because in my dreams, I've dreamt in color many, many times. One aspect that was very interesting, that was brought up by a guest that I had on very recently, said that, I believe it was Courtney Brown, Dr. Courtney Brown, says, do you ever notice that you don't speak in your dreams? And he was very right about that. You don't speak in your dreams. You think you're speaking, and you think you're verbalizing, but you don't. And I found that aspect very, very interesting. But, I digress. Point is, I would love to remember things that I've gone through. I'm hoping and waiting to remember these things in my dreams, but like my friend Bob Dean says, he says, once you lift that little teapot off your skull cap, you'll be very surprised what you find. Now, personally, I believe that I don't think it'll be anything as devastating as what he went through, but then again, I don't know. I don't know how many lifetimes I've lived. I know he's understood probably maybe a 90th of the lifetimes he's lived, going through those regressions, and he was in a deep depression for quite a long time. It really put him under, and that's been one of my hesitating things why I have not wanted to go into any kind of regression. I figured let this thing just take place naturally and let it happen naturally. But let's I blabber on, guys. I'm sorry about that. Let's see if Alma's ready. William, are we ready?
Not yet.
Okay.
Robert.
Okay.
Oh, she is ready. Hold on, please.
Okay. My apologies. Hello, welcome, my dear friend.
Are you the gentleman?
I believe I'm a gentleman.
You are behind your instrument to this radio wave?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. I am one of the crew members aboard a craft that is circling your area. That's why we ask. You have further intention of going out away from your home. If you do, we say do not stay home. It is preferably you stay home. And have you placed the vortex around your home?
I have no intentions of going far from my home. Why would you say that?
There are energies that would be unbalanced out there that could create an incident that would not be favorable. So we would ask you to stay within your own home. You have the vortex around it. You are protected. It is only in this evening that there are outside influences and energies that would not be beneficial. Now, when we say this, do not fear, or it could be even an accident within your own vehicles you call automobiles. It could be even walking that will bring on an energy and would make you lightheaded. There are certain forces at work, but it is only for this evening because the energies are quite heavy. You have a barrier around your home and around your loved ones, as there is a barrier here around this sector of this state of San Diego, where our vehicle, our sister is, and her husband. You protect it.
I put that barrier up before we started the show.
Yes, you need to place one outdoors as well as inside. As William has placed one outside, he needs to place it inside as well. He needs to place it inside as well. This vehicle is very sensitive to these energies and these vibrations that are outside as well as inside that would be unbalanced. But there is no danger, as you would term it, that would be threatening, but only the danger is of unbalanced energy that could lead to an incident occurring that would not be favorable. So we do watch you. So in another moment, in another time, we would say to you, when you are ready to go out of your city and look up at the sky and take one of these instruments and see our craft, you will also be able to see them close and to videotape them. This is the time, this is the visual time for humanity to look up to the heavens. There are more crafts now that will be available for all to witness our presence. We are here as guardians. Guardians, and our crafts are large, and some of them have been seen around your sun. In fact, you have a very highly intellectual journalist from your Mexican territory who has brought forth this light and this visual proof of our crafts surrounding the sun.
Yes, Jaime Musan.
Yes, that is his name. We have given him a higher vibrational name. We have given it on to him by this vehicle, but yet he does not recognize it, but he will in the very near future. But this craft that's on your sun, it is what you would say 10 times larger than the Earth planet. And it is a specialized planet because it has a shield, and that shield is what is protecting this Earth from massive solar emissions that would cause much of this weather patterns to be extremely out of balance, and the heat waves could cause a great damaging effect to your satellite system. And because your ozone layers have been depleted in many parts of your world, then these emissions of energetic particles from the sun penetrate, and they would then cause your life food supply to deteriorate, and this would create a shortage of your food crops, and the heat would then be felt throughout certain sectors of this planet severely, and you would use much of your convenient electrical means to keep you in a way comfortable, as you term your refrigeration system. But these two would go out because of these massive flares that would penetrate to a certain degree. When we place the shield and these solar magnetic flares or eruptions, they are so great, we take upon them with our shield and reflect that energy of the sun back onto itself. So it is like a mirror that is placed only in the areas of the sun that is causing greater disturbances and solar eruptions of great and dangerous potentials of destruction. We place this craft there. Now this has been witnessed and is now being shown to the public so they recognize this. We say to you, humans on earth, we are with you. You are truly blessed and you are precious to us. We watch over you, therefore we guard your planet and monitor these events. Now, at this time that is coming, we would say within less than a month's time, for it is not set how this event may occur, but it is also an imbalance of the sun and the moon and the earth. There's a slight imbalance in spite of our technologies in assisting. We have done all, but this slight imbalance will be felt in this nation, but it would be on a minor scale. It would not be on a major scale. We come to assist, but we cannot prevent all things that are totally out of control. Within your own earth, you have managed to partially destroy it already, contaminating the air, contaminating your soil, your food supply, your water, by these contaminants in the air and radioactivity that flows through the air in waves and also in the ocean. You have contaminated it with these oil spills that have seeped down to the bottom layers and travel as wave patterns and currents to other parts of your Pacific Ocean, the Gulf of Mexico, Indian Ocean, various places within your Earth's ocean now are contaminated, as well as much of your sea life that is edible for your sustainable life. Now, not only are you also breathing in chemicals from your air, you are also eating the food that are contaminated by these leaks within your radiational plants of the world that leak. Now, we have tried to assist many nations in controlling these nuclear plants to prevent them from causing greater eruptions and greater contaminations of your oceans and your air. It is still not in control, so we cannot alleviate all these problems of the planet. We can only assist. The rest must be done by each nation that is responsible for contaminating your air or your water. Now, we say to you, this time coming is because of the imbalance between the sun, the imbalance of your planet Earth and its energy within the core, and as well your planet, the moon. Now, the moon is a stationary planet object placed there to maintain the balance between the sun and the moon. But at this time, there is much pressure from the sun, even though we have these crafts reflecting back the sun flares, eruptions or coronal mass ejections back onto its source in the moon. We have done that, but a certain amount of that pressure causes disturbances in waves patterns that travel. And these wave patterns that travel cause a vibrational frequency. And that vibrational frequency is felt here on the earth. Even though your own moon controls and tries to balance the vibrational frequency, some of it may be felt, but it will not be a destructive force of a mass magnitude. So we say to you all, do not place any fear on future events that may transpire, but just know that we are around your planet and we are monitoring all these events that have to do with your planet, Mother Earth, Gaia, to maintain the life that is within. To maintain that life is to maintain your life, because you live from her. She nourishes you, and the air that you breathe must be also balanced out and your food. In this way, we are assisting as well within all your world nuclear power plants and missiles. These we are watching closely, and if any do go off, we will, within our massive crafts, use our technologies to dismantle them, and if they do take off, we will dismantle them in the air. But there's also within the councils that represent this planet, they have come to a decision that if there was to be an eruption on this planet Earth caused by this unstable energy in your ground to a certain degree, and this would create throughout your world volcanic eruptions, we would come forth in masses to enter your volcanoes to control those energies. It would be allowed for us to do, to maintain the balance, as well as if the nuclear weapons are at threat because of the Earth movement. Now, you have the San Andreas fault within your California, plus there are many fault lines and nuclear plants built within lands that are unstable. That is why we are watching and monitoring and balancing the energies, because if there is a greater magnitude of earth movement in any of these areas, or those islands as well, that will be affected by this land movement, cause their nuclear plants to be erupted to a certain degree within their own pipe pressure lines that go into the sea, and the water that cools the system down. If they do crack, then this radiation may leak onto thy water or onto thy air. So we are watching first and foremost the movement on your planet and dispersing the energies. So you may feel smaller earth movements. It is because we are dispersing the energies, and we enter through these volcanoes in various parts of your world. We enter also from your center of the earth, and we go deep within and come out. And we enter also within your ice nations that you call North and South poles. Now, there are also inner earth cities. They are there because they have always been there and have existed. And they are benevolent races as well as races that care not much for the human race. But there's always been, and there's always been maintained, a respect within these races to the human race, and will work together to preserve Mother Gaia, to maintain the life not only of the human species, but the lives that live beneath you. And you also have your cosmic brothers and sisters who also live here on this earth. And they do walk among you. They do inhabit your planet. But they are also humans, just like you, as we are like you. You are also part of us genetically. So what you can say is that we are not the aliens. Okay, we are your brothers. And you are not the aliens. You too are our brothers. So, in turn, genetically, we are all brothers. We are all connected as brothers and sisters. We are all aliens. Aliens, depending on which nation you are. You call yourself aliens. Aliens to this nation, or you're aliens to another country. You call aliens who are illegal who come to this country. You call them aliens as well, because they were not part or born of this country. So you too are aliens. All of you are aliens. We too are aliens if we were to come to your country and cross your borders, and if we do not belong or are raised within your borders.
And yet, none of us are aliens. We are all just one.
But in respective ways of looking at things, you are all sparks of the divine light. And as sparks of the divine light within all creation of sentient beings, you are all part of the greater whole. Therefore, as being part of the greater whole in all creation, you are all one. For at one lifetime, you may experience yourself living a life as a Christian. In another lifetime, you may experience your life being a Muslim. In another time, in another lifetime, you may experience yourself being Orthodox. It is part of the spiritual learning process to evolve and to truly become one with all life on earth and all races on earth, because you truly all are one. How can you experience oneness if you do not experience the other side of the human nature or of the culture or of the country and the belief system? Do you understand that?
I understand it perfectly. There's a question that I want to bring up to you that I had actually talked with my mother about this earlier in the week, that if we are living multiple existences on multiple planes, how do we account? Would that account for when we are dreaming or we are in a lucid state, that we would see our own reflection in our dream?
That is part. That is only part. Yourself, your physical body is manifested within this reality to what you need to experience, but your spiritual essence is also another manifested body in another dimension, in another time frequency. So you are living on the earth plane in the third frequency within your spirit, as you may be also living in another dimension, in another frequency of your earth essence. You carry your experience from this earth plane. You carry it simultaneously into another earth plane. But that earth plane is on a different level. It could be a higher dimension or it could be at a lower dimension. So there will be another part of you living another life experience at a higher frequency or at a lower frequency. So you may also have another part of you if you originate from another star system, that another part of you is there and you have a physical body there. And you're living that life as you are living one here on this earth. An example we would give you, that there was an enlightened producer and staff that made your visual movie called Avatar.
Yes.
Now, part of this movie is based on reality, technology in existence. And true, you can have these kinds of lives in other worlds, these kinds of bodies in other worlds, and yet still be here on earth and live in the third dimension. But then your spirit is released from your physical body here on earth, temporary, and enters your other physical body, another planetary system, and you live out that experience temporarily, and then your spirit is then removed from that body, returns back to the body here on earth, and you continue your life.
But yet we still live simultaneous lives instantaneously on multiple planes.
When you are this type of an avatar, your spirit only has those two destinations at that moment. At that moment. But if you are experiencing life for certain life lessons, and you need to experience life in another planetary system for other life lessons, you have 2 or 3 areas in which your spirit may go back and forth. But because there's a time frequency in others, there is no time frequency in these levels. What it seems for you to be 1 year here on earth can be 1 day within another dimension. But it is still your spiritual essence. It is you who's experiencing another type of life in another frequency, but at a different time frequency or no time at all. It's too complex for the human race to understand. But you have experienced multiple lessons within different spectrums of time and dimension. But you can also experience, such as an avatar, 2 points of reference, being that your body may be here and you have another body, physical full body in another, and you have consciousness of what you are experiencing, such as in this movie. Within the other planes of existence, you have no consciousness of this experience.
I completely understand what you just said, because you just made me realize something, that using a specific frequency. Let's say that there's a frequency of 400,000 to 300,000. You can switch those frequencies simultaneously to revert downward or upward, however you choose, within that frequency. Now you can have the exact opposite frequency taking place at the same time, switching almost like a switchboard between, between universal frequencies. That made total sense to me.
Now I will give you another example. The frequency of sound. Just like you have the frequency of travel, beyond the speed of light, beyond the speed of sound, you also have the frequency and power of sound. Now, the humans love to sing, but not all humans who sing can break glass with their tone frequency.
Yes.
If they did, it would be chaos throughout of all breaking of your glassware or mirrors. This is a
yes.
A frequency that only certain vocal cords of singers reach. When they reach that frequency, they have that light voice spectrum in a wave that reaches and touches that which resonates within its own frequency, which is that of the glass. It could be of water, and you would make the water move through sound or through the mind, the power of the mind. You can use the power of the mind, and you can use the power of sound to move water. You can use the power of the mind or sound to break the glass. You can use the power of the mind or the sound to move great, heavy objects, as your ancient and indigenous cultures did to build some of the greatest buildings, temples, and pyramids of your ancient times. It was not manual labor. Frequency of sound, frequency and the power of the word, and the frequency and power of the mind. You are all great beings with great powers. We have not yet acknowledged, for we have not yet been given the permission to open up another portion within your brain matter to reach a higher potential to use these capabilities, as many of your ancient ancestors did so.
The transformational shift. There's somebody who posted a question here. It says, is mankind going to win the spiritual war?
You alone are responsible for your own salvation. You cannot depend on the salvation collectively as a whole human race. You cannot depend on your salvation in receiving celestial assistance to save you or governments to save you. You are responsible alone for your own salvation. Why we say this to you? Each one collectively joins their power and their light for benevolence, for peace on earth, for a better world, to end all worlds, to end all these threats that you are facing daily and fears of chemical and biological warfare. You all face fears of the economy. You all face fears that your technologies and your petroleum substances of energy will end. You all have these fears of the future and fears of cosmic invasions as well. We have not invaded you yet, for if we had done so, you wouldn't be here.
That's absolutely right. Without a question. Without a question.
We have monitored your planet. We have protected your planet. And yes, there have been many wars we call Star Wars, because there are many who have wanted to control and taken over this planet long ago. But we, as mass legions of light, have always monitored and protected the planet and the human race, for you are part of us. As there are others who are part of you, but who have other intentions for you and for the planet. So the light has triumphed within the cosmos, within our own personal existence with the human race since eons of time. And we cannot promise that the light will triumph within your own collective consciousness and all the leaders. For daily, the minds of all your leaders change. But collectively, the human race as a species together can influence and place light around all the nations that have unstable powers and imprison them with light. If you imprison all nations who are unstable and who do not have the best intentions for the planet and all the humans that inhabit, then when you imprison them, they lose their power. For they're imprisoned with light, with love, with kindness, with understanding. They cannot fight that. So this is one way to win your wars, is to send love and light to all nations where there's imbalance, to all nations where there is a need to bring about love, respect, and oneness. You are all responsible for your own lives, but you may assist your brothers and sisters on this planet and send them love, protection, and light, and surround them with this light, and surround that nation and all leaders with this light. That is your greatest weapon, and that is what will bring this civilization and this planet Earth into the fourth and fifth dimensions, and you will become galactic citizens. But you cannot become galactic citizens if we cannot trust you fully. We cannot trust all the minds of your leaders.
Guardian, I don't blame you, because most of us who are awakened have no trust in any of these people.
We wish to trust you. As parents, we look upon you, and as parents, we want you not to suffer. We give you loving warnings so that you may act upon these warnings. But we cannot take the obstacles from you as parents, for we need you to learn by your own errors, by your own decisions you make. Yes.
You need to learn the lesson. I understand that, Guardian. Let me ask you this, though. If we understand, forget we. I'm talking to you personally now as me, my soul higher conscious spirit talking to you. If I understand, which I know, absolutely understand, that death does not exist, then why does any of this mean anything?
Death does not exist. Yes, there is a death. But there is a death of the spirit. When you choose not to live your life fully and to fulfill your mission you chose when you came to earth, and you want to leave this world ahead of your time, and you take your own life, that is death of spirit. The death of spirit, you, as your free will, take your own life. But where does that spirit go? Does that spirit advance into the greater light, or does that spirit go into what you would call a hospital? It needs to be healed So that spirit needs to go to a healing realm where you will have light beings, guardians, attending to their healing, and have to return much more than any other soul that does not take their own life. So it comes to the second time they return, and if they still want to take their own life, they do not want to fulfill their purpose, and they continue, then there will be the second death, where they will not be reborn, they will not reincarnate no longer. You have a precious ability to reincarnate and to purify your souls. So you are responsible for your own salvation and for your own spiritual growth and enlightenment.
Okay.
Is this confusing?
Yes. There's one more question I'd like to ask you. But we got this at last minute here. It says, can you ask the guardian if he feels that the number of men on this planet that produce the poisons, like the fluorides, the GMOs, radiation, vaccinations, that the rest of the population accepts as good, will end mankind's planet?
It is not clear what you are at.
Okay. Basically, what he's saying is that the few people, the elites that run the world, these are the deceptors, which you understand, which are, in my opinion, are the Luciferian forces. But again, we've had that conversation. That these people producing these things that they are producing to dwindle down, eliminate the population of the planet to a certain amount, feel that they are actually doing the right thing, and how do you view that?
There is no right or wrong. For each one of these leaders, or very scientific-minded discoverers of new technologies in your medical field or in your agriculture. Now, when they start manipulating your agriculture to increase the crops within a form that is unnatural, to increase the food supply, what will happen is the physical body will either digest this new supply of chemicals within the food, and the physical bodies, if they have strong immune systems, will slowly blend that element and that chemical into their own DNA structure and be able to survive and live, but it will live in a different form genetically because it has been altered. And the offspring will also be affected by an altered gene because of this.
So they understand this, and this is exactly why they're doing this?
They believe that it will feed more on the planet. Not enough study and research has been done, but the outcome would be detrimental for those of the planet who have low immune systems, for it will deteriorate their body and cause illness, and many would be eliminated. But those that have strong immune systems will be able to take that substance, that food substance, incorporate it within their bodies, and genetically blend with it and grow with it. But it will be changed within their body, within their DNA, and their offspring. So yes, both will be affected. But the higher your immune system is, the lifespan you will continue to have. There is an effect either way. It will affect your DNA, or it will deteriorate your physical body. And you will receive what is called in this earth plane Your illnesses, even though they may be minor illnesses, they will be then made greater because of the deficiency in your protective element within your own DNA to fight off the chemicals you are ingesting. So yes and no. Some do it for greater profit, others because they believe they are doing a benevolent thing to feed more of the world's hungry.
Okay,
So
Guardian.
we cannot make judgments.
Then I have one last question. Because of all the suffering committed by the genocide created by the small powers that be that run this planet, what will alter that course of thought and change unless we have a transformational, upgraded thought process, which obviously is happening right now on the physical planet, but we have not seen that change within the human mindset yet. Are you folks going to allow that to happen to a certain degree so the mindset of humanity as a whole will change into a vision of prosperity and wisdom and love in this dimension?
We may assist, but we cannot carry each one's burden and life experience. We are only here to guide, to protect the planet, to protect the human race. You individually will be responsible for your actions and for your spiritual growth. As far as becoming an enlightened soul, an enlightened planet, this is what we wish. And we are sending more messengers of light. As watching, we are sending more messengers of light from the various dimensions invisible to the naked eye, working here on the planet in all sectors to increase the energy of light, love, oneness throughout the world, causing, at first you will see them as revolutions, because people will be waking up to what they truly want for themselves, for their loved ones, to live within a peaceful nation, a fair and just nation, with leaders that truly wish to protect their people and provide for all equally. So they will all have the opportunity to strive for better futures for their loved ones, for themselves. Now, this is happening throughout the world. For the light that enters and becomes greater will awaken many souls. And these souls are causing these outbursts or rebellions throughout your world. For they wish equality. They wish to live in peace without fear. They wish to share the world's resources. They wish to have what the greater nations have and enjoy. So there is now that momentum going on. And it continues, and it continues like a domino effect. This is what we're watching closely. As all nations let down their arms, that is when the light will triumph and the human race will evolve. Or a great incident or an event will occur that may be destructive. But maybe through this destructive incident of event and loss of life, the human race and government leaders of the world will see what is important. Is it power or is it saving the human race and their planet? So this is what you are now in the crossroads. And this is what we are watching very closely. With the planet and your contamination, we are assisting in this. But with your own revolution, with your own changes that you all want to manifest worldwide, it is because of the light entering. It is because there needs to be a unity. There needs to be a sharing. There needs to be peace. There needs to be brotherhood. it needs to be the end of all wars. That is the reason. Are you there, my brother?